A new way for remote play between kids and grandparents. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin, and with us is Jim Marggraff, CEO and founder of a company called Kinoo, Kinoo. Great to see you, Jim.
You too, Fred. Thanks for having me today.
So give us the overview of what Kinoo is all about.
Sure. Kinoo is a new form of video chat to connect older loved ones and younger loved ones, such as grandparents with their young grandkids, or even traveling parents, aunts and uncles with young kids 3 to 7 years of age, and does it by taking video chat and making video chat much more engaging with a few really special elements, which I'll be happy to tell you about.
Sure. And we should mention that you came out on top in the AARP Innovation Lab's Grand Pitch Finale, which is a real honor. Some tough competition there. So step us through the use case scenario. You've got a couple of things. You've got little kids involved, and you've got grandparents who have varying degrees of tech savviness involved, and you've got to make it work and be easy and fun. So tell me how this.
Absolutely. So at this point, grandparents have become accustomed to using Zoom. And they're with the unfortunate COVID situation. So now that's a way of life, video chat. The challenge we have is grandparents don't always have the best time with young grandkids on Zoom. And we call this, we call it the Johnny problem, where a grandchild has a young grandson, 4 years old, we'll call Johnny. And grandpa might be on with Johnny and say, "Johnny, how are you?" Johnny says, "Good." Grandpa says, "What are you up to?" Johnny says, "I don't know," and runs off. And the challenge is then it's hard because the grandparent feels disappointed. They feel negligent. Mom chases after Johnny with a phone, and the whole experience isn't great. So how do you fix that? How do you make sure the grandparent knows what to say and do to keep the grandchild engaged? Just talking about their life history is not going to do it. So first of all, we put games and activities in the video chat, number one. Now that's been done before. That's been done. People drop games there sometimes and put video chat up, but it's still not very engaging because the child really isn't talking to the grandparent. They're playing a game, which is good, but you want an exchange, you want bonding, connection. So what happens next is we have characters that facilitate the play. They pop up, they talk to the child, they talk to the parent, they make suggestions. That's a first start. The next thing is when the child and grandparent are playing together, whether they're playing, they're on a rocket ride to the moon, and they're in the rocket together and it's blasting off, moving along, a little prompt will come up to the grandparent as they're floating on their way to the moon and suggest that when space debris floats by, the grandparent will be prompted to talk about garbage and space debris and talk about what that means on Earth. And then they'll get onto the moon and they'll do a moon dance together, and they'll bounce up and down in their little spaceship in their astronaut uniforms, and another nudge will come along. So the second thing is prompts to help the grandparent. And the next thing is we have a tool that's available for the child that's a wand, physical wand they can hold in their hand. It's about 3 inches high, has orbs on it, very colorful, sound comes out of it, wirelessly linked to their iPad. The child then uses this and it becomes something else in their hand on the screen. For instance, they might make cookies together because grandparents like making cookies with grandchild. And now the grandchild uses this wand as the parent drags an egg onto the screen. The grandchild breaks the egg by whacking their wand up and down in front of the camera. And they see a knife going up and down, breaking the egg. Then the grandparent drags in some sugar, and the child takes their Casey and they tip it and they pour the sugar into a cup and pour it into the batter. And then some butter, and they slice the butter up. Then the Casey becomes a wand, becomes a whisk, and the child whisks it all up and they continue on. They put the cookies in the oven, they bake and pop them out and eat them. And that's just one of many things. The grandparent might put fish, the child can throw a line into a fishing pond, and the grandparent will put a fish on the hook and the child will pull it out. Or the child whacks at a chunk of granite, and with the grandparent positions the chisel and they break it. And this is all I'm describing it. When you see it, it's super simple. You can't go wrong. The grandparent just knows what to do. We give our characters there, and it all just is really, really easy.
And the content is being refreshed pretty regularly?
Yep. So our content, we're starting out with a set of open play activities, of some games, some turn-taking games, some pure creative games, some skill games. The first edition is about a dozen activities that you'll play for many hours, and we'll be rolling out content monthly. And we've got some really uncanny ideas on things that you can do with this KC wand as it turns into things. You can imagine I mean, playing baseball together, blowing bubbles together, even doing puppets together. So some wild things.
Terrific. Now, your background, let's tell the audience here a little bit about your background, which is storied, and we've talked before about some of the other innovations you've come up with.
Thank you, Fred. I've had the good fortune to have founded, this is my 7th company that I founded or co-founded. Early on, I created the Leapfrog Leap Pad. Prior to that, I did an interactive globe over my shoulder. There's an interactive globe sitting over here for parents and families. So you touch it and it would talk to you. Then did the Leapfrog. We helped 100 million kids or so, excuse me, learn to read in a period of about 5 years. Then I founded LiveScribe to make a smart pen that would capture ink and audio. More recently, I started a company that I sold to Google in 2016 with eye tracking for eye interaction for AR and VR. So I spent a lot of time looking at basically social emotional learning, communication, productivity, and how we help people evolve their thinking and evolve their communication and their bonding and connection with one another, which led to the AARP Innovation Award, because figuring out how to help people, empower people to choose how they live as they age, and give adults the ability to enjoy those years and really, really nourish their grandkids and just have pure joy when they get to play and be together, knowing they're helping their grandkids and at the same time having fun.
You know, the distance separation that affects many families with grandparents on one coast and the grandchildren on another, that's been around forever. But the pandemic meant that even if the child was 20 minutes away, they wouldn't necessarily be in the same place as the grandparents. So this idea of remote play, I don't know how long you've been working on this. I'm sure it's longer than the pandemic's been around.
Oh yeah, this idea, I wrote first patents on, because we patented a number of ideas, and did first work on this in 2017. So the idea came up in 2017, worked on it off and on, testing this with elderly folks to first identify social isolation and said, that's a problem. Then we talked to them more, grandparents said they really want to be with their grandkids, then studied that, and just kept this going on simmer until a little bit, about 6 months before COVID struck, and then started to turn up the heat. This was at the end of 2019, started to build a team, said, gee, we can create something. And then when COVID struck, we just said, okay, we've got to run with this. And that was about 18 months ago. At that point, we had the idea for the handheld device, which is a key part of it because that's so magical and so unique. So really went the last 18 months in just intense work, but it goes back now 4 years.
All right. So you've got some sales, I'm sure, out there. Tell people how they get it, the pricing, and how this is all going to work.
Absolutely. Thanks. So our website is the place to go, which is Kinoo.com, Kinoo, and that comes from family, from kin as in kinship with your family, and the 2 O's actually make 2 loops as on my shirt, like an infinity sign with older and younger connected in the middle. So there's thinking behind the logo. So Kinoo, Kinoo.com, and we've offered, let's see, what's the date? What's today's date, by the way, that we're speaking?
Well, we're in early November, November 8th.
Okay, good. So this is the holiday season. And we've just brought up our website, and we are now taking orders. It's on the website, and the kit normally our KC is this wand sells for $79 to $99. Final pricing coming, but at $79, that's normal. At $10 a month for the software, the subscription, that would normally be a year for KC and our software, $199, and we're offering this $100 discount. So $99 for early bird buyers between now and the end of the year. And they get both KC, the KC wand, and software for that year at that price. And we think it's very, very exciting because there's so much fun to play with. And so that's available now, and shipping is free. And also to remove any risk, there's 6-month return policy. So that means if someone's not happy with this, we want to be sure that people love this, and families and grandparents and kids just adore it. So we're removing all risk.
Terrific. The website, once again, is Kinoo.com, Kinoo.com. Jim Marggraff, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thanks, Fred.
Now this. It takes a lot of listening to build a better radio, And that's just what the folks at Sea Crane have done. Bob Crane and his crew, nestled among the rivers and tallest trees in the world in Fortuna, California, have made a habit of listening to their customers. And that's just what they've done in building the CC Skywave SSB, the Swiss Army knife of portable radios. For everyday listening to AM or FM in the yard or patio or on the nightstand without having to drain a mobile phone battery, it's a great companion. But it is also a companion equipped for NOAA weather information and alerts that can be life-saving. You can listen to FEMA and Coast Guard transmissions too. Beyond all of that, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. It's compact, easy to take with you, and built to last. The CC Skywave SSB. Click on the link at Techstination.com.